following that insanely entertaining game between the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Clippers, we got to talk about some similarities with the key players on these teams. I'm Sierra Goodwill, here with Mike Petraglia and Jimmy Toscano. There's been a couple comparisons as of late circling around the media about Jaylen Brown and Paul George. And I think after the defense and the show that Jayson Tatum put on against Kawhi Leonard, there's some comparisons that can be made there right now. Can you kind of see the Leonard and George pairing kind of drawing some similarities to Tatum and Brown here in Boston?
I would say certainly they're on that path, guys.
Yeah.
I would think right now where they are not quite there is defensively. Certainly we saw great defense from Jayson Tatum in this double overtime win over the Clippers. But in a consistent at a consistent level, Jayson Tatum I don't think is quite there defensively with Kawhi Leonard. That being said, you have to love what Danny Ainge has built in having two stud star players, young, under contract, under control, and you're talking about a situation where the Celtics didn't have to go out and acquire them.
Right.
He had them right homegrown, and you've seen them really develop right before our eyes. And certainly I think they're on that path. They're not there yet, but they're certainly making great strides.
And Jimmy, as far as the future holds, obviously Tatum and Brown are so unbelievably young. We forget that Tatum is 21 years old, guys. The sky is the limit for this guy. Who would you take, Leonard and George or Tatum and Brown, to build a franchise around?
You're gonna make me
I'm
look like the bad guy here.
On you.
See, to me, I mean, you just go with the guaranteed, which is Leonard and PG.
Boo!
I know,
kidding.
and that's not a knock on. It's not a knock on Tatum
How
and Brown.
dare you
obviously,
take the common sense
but let's
approach.
be real here. We're I mean, how nice is it to be able to compare Tatum and Brown to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George? I mean, two of the best players in the NBA, two future Hall of Famers. I mean, NBA champion and Kawhi Leonard. I mean, these guys are absolute studs. And to even be mentioned in the same sentence to them is an honor at such a young age for Brown and Tatum,
Right.
where the sky really is the limit. And I could 100% be wrong in 4 or 5 years where those guys are playing at the same point that Kawhi and PG are. And, of course, you'd rather have them at that point because,
They're
you know,
younger.
Kawhi and PG are probably towards the end of their career at that point. So, I mean, it's such a great trust me, Danny Ainge is loving that discussion, right? I mean, it's so important that he did draft those guys because you see, like, a team like the Golden State Warriors, you know, when they draft, you know, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry and those guys. Right. That's how you get that core, and that's how you build players around them because you can control those players. So, you know, I think the Celtics are in such a great position right now. I mean, all of a sudden they're like the most promising team in Boston.
Well, I would also say that really the only thing that's separating Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown from Kawhi and PG is consistency. And you have to do this over many, many years.
Absolutely.
And I know there are people out there watching this video saying, are you serious? Are you comparing, you know, a 21-year-old and a 23-year-old to what?
It's the trajectory that we're comparing.
Correct. And that is the important distinction here that we're having in this discussion is clearly
we're talking
Tatum
potential
versus what they've already produced, what PG and Kawhi have already produced.
And you know what? Even their personalities are pretty similar, right? I mean, these are like business guys, right?
Yeah.
They're not all you know, they're not all like they're Hollywood. You know, they kind of stick to the game. They're quiet. They play their game. They don't get too high. They don't get too low. Well,
this Garden Report is brought to you by Vincero Watches. Trags can model it here for us. They're exceptionally designed watches at a very affordable price.
I can tell you it's very late on my Vincero watch.
It's a late one here tonight at TD Garden. But if you want 15% off an exclusive offer for our listeners, go to VinceroWatches.com and use code GARDEN. For all the rest of our Celtics content, head over to our website at CLNSmedia.com.